Good evening and welcome to the news. As usual, Wednesday Bulletin is enriched with an extra touch in every aspect of reportage, with stories about Nigeria and Nigerians at the front of the desk. We will also bring you stories from the global scene. Tonight, President Tinubu approves Federal Teaching Hospital in Ondo as he seeks support for APC candidates ahead of Saturday's election. Global climate talks. COP29 adopts Paris Agreement on operational standards, sets the stage for a global carbon market. Why do some parents push children into unwanted fields of study? Pathways that sometimes conflict with their future goals. We will find out. Tonight, we have business news with Benny Adams, sports with Badi Adeleye. As we say on this bit, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Henry John, and this is News Extra. Welcome. Let's hit the road now and head straight to the Sunshine State, where President Bola Tinubu has approved the establishment of the first federal teaching hospital in Ondo State, a gesture of appreciation for the people's support of his administration and the All Progressives Congress, APC. In a message delivered by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the APC's mega rally in Akure, the president encouraged residents to turn out in large number to support the APC candidate in the governorship election slated for this Saturday, November 16. Paul Mokago reports.
In addition to the teaching hospital, there are also plans by the federal government to improve on existing infrastructure while also initiating new projects to open up the state.
The president has the highest regard for the people of Ondo. You are a state of progressive. Come out and vote for the progressive candidate. Come out in mass. 18-0.
The people of Ondo State for finding it important to pledge and get ready to vote for our candidate, the present governor of Ondo State.
The candidate of the party and incumbent governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, thanked the leadership of the party and the people of Ondo State for their support, promising better performance in the years ahead.
I want to tell you that by the time we return by 24th of February 2025, we will do more than what we have been able to do.
The rally clamors with the presentation of the APC flag to the governor and his running mate.
We are presenting this flag to our gubernatorial candidates.
Earlier, the vice president on arrival paid homage to the paramount ruler of Akure. In Akure, Paul Omukago, NTA News.
After any election comes the greater responsibility of governance. For real Democrats, sentiments are set aside because the collective interest of the nation is greater than any parochial or party interest. In Nigeria, for instance, after the 2023 general election, President Bola Tinubu has demonstrated this through recent appointment of non-APC members into his cabinet. Timothy Yusuf takes us into the journey where the PDP and Abuja are beneficiaries.
President Bola Tinubu constituting his cabinet upon taking over the running of the affairs of Nigeria, appointed a leading PDP member and former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, as one of his ministers. It was a surprise to many.
I'm not here for any party. I'm here for the interests of Nigeria and for the unity of this country. I'm still a PDP member. I've never hidden my position on that.
Bipartisan leadership that Mr. President is dispensing. At the risk of being accused of flattery, we really appreciate Mr. President and Mr. Wike.
Not enough. President Tinubu took his government of inclusivity further by appointing former Nigerian ambassador and wife of the founder of Abuja and Biafra warlord, the late Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, as minister.
A very, very big thank you. We really appreciate it.
Nigerian leaders are implored to, in this direction, recommit to the values of inclusivity, accountability, and transparency to guarantee a flourishing democracy.
We are very confident that the new persons who have been added to this team will go along with us to ensure that we move in a very meaningful and purposeful manner.
It's a high time for state governors to also emulate Mr. President of his inclusivity governance.
Political actors believe that after 25 years of uninterrupted democracy, it was time for all Nigerians to partake in building a nation where every voice is heard, potential realized, and citizens empowered to contribute to the collective good of the country.
So it's a welcome development to have appointment being made at the federal level, not just from the party in power, but from other political parties.
We're not running a parliamentary system where you have, seat allotted based on, number of votes that are cast and all that. It's a winner takes it all presidential system. And this presidential system need to have a position. That's why you need to look at section 222 to 229, where multi-party democracy was formed.
Politicians are enjoined to prioritize citizens' needs, as democracy was all about the populace, has been exemplified by President Bola Tinubu. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in the heartbeat of the nation, and just 24 hours of assumption of office, the Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo, has ordered contractors in the state to return to sites and immediately fix failed portions within Benin Metropolis. The governor gave the directive during the inspection of roads within the Benin Metropolis. Good Luck Inaini has details of this and other engagements of the governor.
The governor was at the Upper Mission Extension Road by the Aduawa Junction and the Ramad Park axis in Benin City to see the extent of damage. While at the failed portion of the road at Aduawa Junction, the governor said the move is in line with the renewed hope of President Tinubu, a commitment to restoring the hope of Edo people. He assured the people that work will commence immediately as he is in a hurry to bring the dividends of democracy to them. Other parts of the state capital to experience immediate mobilization of contractors are Eyan Road and the Obadan Junction along the Benin-Auchi Expressway.
In the next few days, people will be working here. We want to follow the president's agenda to develop Nigeria. So Edo also will be developed.
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed. For the past 30 years I grew up to this, I've never seen a thing like this. A governor that was swearing yesterday, I've started working today. Glory be to God.
If you ready for, you not go fit pass. You not go fit reach us. If they come children they pass, you say me they don't go for erosion. Me erosion don't carry on. But now when they say I want to do are they happy where?
The governor ended his engagement with the inauguration of the headquarters of a financial institution in Benin City. In Benin, Good Luck Inaini, NTA News.
More Nigerians have been elected into public offices in their various countries of residence, including Adeyemi Mobolade, who was elected in 2023 as the mayor of Colorado Springs, making history as the first black person to occupy such position. Deborah Bala will compile the report.
Oye was re-elected as the shadow representative for the District of Columbia under the Democratic Party, while Barry got elected into the Australian Capital Territory Legislative Assembly covering the Jinem Dara district under the Liberal Party. Adeyina was also re-elected as state representative of District 110, Georgia, USA. And Adeyemi Mobolade elected as the mayor of Colorado Springs in 2023, making history as the first black person to attain such feat. The election has been described as historical in Colorado Springs for being the first black to be elected into the position. Chairman NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri, in a congratulatory message, hailed their victory at the polls, breaking such records in the political arena of their different place of residence and setting standards. Dabiri Erewa commended their resilience, efforts and strive to success, urging them to keep up the resilient spirit as they carry out their duties respectively. She prayed to God for protection, strength and direction in their new positions while encouraging them to continue putting in their best in the discharge of their duty. In Abuja, Deborah Balagubo, NTA News.
Congratulations to the new mayor of Colorado Springs. And of course, someone who is very excited about this is the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, and she joins me now. Good evening, ma'am. Welcome.
Good evening, and thank you.
All right. Now, this is beautiful, of course, seeing the great feats by Nigerians outside the country. What can we attribute this to?
Well, that Nigerians are simply, the best anywhere they find themselves. And we need to ensure that we harness, engage them so that they can also be part of what is going on back home. And for those Nigerians that you just saw there, I mean, we've been communicating and really, they are proudly Nigerian. And that's just the US and a lady from Australia. Checker Berry also made history in Australia, the first for that position. We have about, in Canada alone, almost about 11 Nigerians thereabout in various elective positions. In fact, the first Attorney General in Alberta, Casey Madu, the very first black person to occupy that position. Akko Afodike, Deputy Minister of Immigration in Canada too. So a whole lot of Nigerians making waves in the political space. And this is significant because, you're going to have a lot more of them. And it's not easy winning an election as a dual citizen. For them to win these elections, we feel it's important to celebrate them and encourage them. And also, remind them that, we work together.
Fantastic. Now let's take a cue from the newly elected international president of FIDA, Ezinwa Okorafor. Now, what does these achievements by Nigerians outside the country portend for our reputation?
Oh, very, very positive. I mean, we only hear bad stories all the time, but what we try to do at the commission is project the good stories. These are Nigerians doing well. But you know what? Bad news travels fast. So if it's good news, nobody will talk about them. I'm sure if we did not bring this out there, you wouldn't know that this many Nigerians are in elective positions all over the world. So it tells good stories about Nigeria. It changes the narrative about our country, Nigeria. And guess what? They are elected and they're all doing very, very well. Somebody will tell me, oh, well, either way in Nigeria, maybe not. Well, we don't know. But what we're saying is that as Nigerians, we're doing great all over the world, and nobody will celebrate us but ourselves. So we'll keep celebrating Nigerians that are excelling all over the world and keep changing the negative narratives about our country. And we will change those narratives because that is who we are: hardworking, determined, resilient, not a nation of drug stars or 419s and all that. And we're just happy about that, and we keep celebrating them.
Of course, I'm proud that I'm a Nigerian. I'm sure you are too, Abike Dabiri.
Absolutely.
That's why you fly the flag everywhere. But just before you go, because of time, what will your advice to other Nigerians outside the country at this time?
Be good ambassadors. And that's what Mr. President tells them anytime he meets with them. You are the #1 ambassadors of Nigeria. Nobody will sell Nigeria better than you. So when we behave properly, we change the narrative about our country. But when we, are caught up in the wrong side, then it's bad for us. But you are the #1 ambassadors. And the good thing is this: giving one Nigerian in trouble, I'll give you 10,000 doing great things all over the world. So please remain good ambassadors of our country. And again, the message is Nigerians at home. Let's work with Nigerians in the diaspora to build our country together and support the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Thank you very much. Of course, great country, great people, Nigeria. Many thanks, Chairman, CEO, NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri, for being our guest today on News Extra. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for remaining tuned. Nigeria is realigning with global economic dynamics to better serve national interests and the well-being of all Nigerians. This was President Bola Tinubu's message to the 2024 Comptroller General of Customs Conference holding in Abuja. Kunle Adeyeye reports that the Nigerian Customs Service has again surpassed its revenue target, collecting 5.7 trillion naira as of Tuesday, 12th November 2024.
The conference is a convergence of key players in Nigeria's trade and border security to evaluate customs operational framework and assess its impact. The presidential message was explicit on strategic national reforms relating to customs duties.
The confidence bestowed on our economy is reflected in the significant surge in foreign direct investments. In less than 2 years in office, my administration has received over $30 billion in commitments from foreign investors. $30 billion. This achievement demonstrates that our policies yield positive results, making Nigeria increasingly attractive for domestic and international investors.
For the Comptroller General of Customs, the agency's magic wand for exceeding its revenue target is connected to robust partnerships.
I am pleased to announce the Nigeria Customs Service has hit its 2024 revenue target of 5.07 trillion. Together, we have created a more business-friendly trading environment that aligns perfectly with President Tinubu's economic transformation agenda, while strengthening our capacity to protect Nigerian citizens from the dangers of illicit trade.
The Director General World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, dwelt on success attained in an efficient customs service delivery, but highlighted some existing gaps.
Nigerian agencies need to work with the customs service to streamline their approach to handling the border.
Together, we can combat the myriad of security challenges facing our nation, including the trafficking of arms, drugs, and other contraband and fuel insecurity.
The expectation is to see the Nigeria Customs Service sustain its strategic focus for the coming year and nurturing the next generation of customs leaders. Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
In other news, NNPC Gas Marketing Limited, a subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, has successfully executed a gas sale and purchase agreement with Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals. The agreement, signed by Managing Director, NNPC Gas Marketing Limited, Justin Isiala, and the President and CEO of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, at the corporate head office of Dangote in Falomo, Lagos State, outlines the supply of natural gas for power generation and feedstock at the Dangote Refinery. A statement by Olufemi Shuneye, Chief Corporate Communications Officer, says this is in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policy of utilizing Nigeria's abundant gas resources towards revamping the nation's industrial growth and kickstarting its economic prosperity. It is also a development penned with zero capital expenditure outlay, described as unprecedented in the history of NNPC Gas Marketing Limited or any gas local distribution company in the country. Under the terms of the agreement, NNPC Gas Marketing Limited will supply 100 million standard cubic feet per day, 50 million standard cubic feet being firm supply, and the rest 50 million cubic feet interruptible natural gas supply to the refinery for an initial period of 10 years with options for renewal and growth. Elsewhere, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, says the intricate process of reading out the flight recorder of the October 24th helicopter crash will begin immediately as proactive measures to publish the preliminary reports within the maximum of 30 days. The minister gave the details in Abuja at a World Press Conference on development of the search and rescue mission by the ministry's agencies and other critical stakeholders. Aliyu Kabru reports.
Addressing journalists, the minister says
The search and recovery mission spanned within 2 weeks of rigorous exercise. It involved all the critical stakeholders comprising Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau (NSIB), Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA), Nigerian Air Force (NNPC), and NIMASA.
So 3 bodies and some debris from the helicopter were picked up on day 1. So far, over time, 5 bodies were identified to be the deceased passengers were recovered, while 1 passenger and 2 crew members are yet to be found. So we have 3 bodies that are yet to be found.
He further explained that on the 31st of October, the wreckage of the helicopter was recovered. Although scattered in pieces, major components were found, including the fuselage, 2 engines, main gearbox, and landing gears. On Friday, November 8, the flight recorder, known as Black Box, was finally found.
The United States of America, as the state of design and manufacture of the helicopter, has appointed an NTSB investigator. So we are, cooperating and collaborating with the United States where it was manufactured. And they have actually appointed someone, an investigator, to work with us.
The minister says as ministry saddled with the responsibility of providing safety, they will conduct thorough investigation using available techniques to safety issues and give recommendations to prevent a tragedy like this from happening again. In Abuja, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
In a landmark decision on the global climate talks, COP29 has officially adopted the new operational standards for a mechanism of the Paris Agreement under Article 6, setting the stage for a global carbon market. This adoption of Article 6.4, achieved during the conference of the parties, serving as the meeting of the parties to the Paris Agreement, sets the stage for operationalizing Article 6, which has faced years of deadlock. Charles Alpha will tell us more.
Article 6 of the Paris Agreement facilitates international collaboration to lower carbon emissions. Like the stock market, it offers 2 pathways for countries and companies to trade carbon, supporting the achievements of emission reduction targets set in their climate action plans or nationally determined contributions, NDCs. The first option, known as Article 6.2, allows 2 countries to establish a bilateral carbon trading under their own terms. The Article 6.4 supervisory body, tasked with creating a United Nations governed market, finalize essential standards governing carbon removal projects. These include guidelines on the development and assessment of methodologies and requirements for carbon removal activities, while previously delayed by conflicting views over transparency and quality. The early adoption of these standards is intended to streamline carbon market operations.
Our focus has to be adaptation. The developed West and the companies and so on, particularly those who have destroyed our environments, should, on the principle of making polluters to pay, contribute.
We have the forest, we have the areas that are helping to absorb the carbons that these people are generating or emitting into the space. So it is up to Africa to work and make sure that whatever negotiations, whatever agreement that we secure, that we put it into productive use.
Despite the historic agreement, concerns arose over the process. Some delegations questioned whether the presidency's swift push to adopt these standards at the start of COP29 undermined traditional governance procedures. The essence of the carbon market is to discourage carbon emission by placing taxes for big emitters to pay, and those preventing the carbon emission should be paid through what is known as carbon credits. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Let's talk about Procode now. Oh yes, leading pharmaceutical brand with solutions to cough and throat ailments in Nigeria has been relaunched. The relaunch of the product, held in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, is bringing an improved version of Procode to the market with better branding and same efficacy. Umar Basi Edit has the report.
Now, we proudly unveil our new look. Modern, bold, are still as effective as ever.
This heralds the unveiling of ProCold with a fresh look, yet with tested and proven efficacy for fast relief from cold. 35 years as a leading brand in the Nigerian market, ProCold prides itself as the #1 brand in every household for the treatment of cold and related ailments.
ProCold is household brand for the entire Nigerians, and I think 35 years and we still established as we are still getting stronger. We are #1 in cold category. With this new packaging, we still maintain the quality for every single Nigerians. So whoever you get cold, catarrh, you take ProCold, you will still get the same efficacy, same proof.
The world is changing, and so does our consumers' expectation. Their expectation will evolve, and also with this new packaging, we are targeting to get the younger consumer while maintaining our loyal consumer that has been loyal to the brand for many years. Formulation, the product inside, is still exactly the same.
ProCold has continued to receive endorsement from health experts.
The drug is working and the drug is okay for cold and catarrh. So they are rebranding and they are actually doing more to promote the product, and that is very good.
Producers of ProCold say the rebranded household drug of 35 years is still the best choice for Nigerians. In Uyo, Umo Basedet, NTA News.
Now, have you ever trusted navigational maps to guide you, only to find yourself staring at a dead end? That sinking feeling when the route that is supposed to lead you to your destination suddenly hits a wall. Now, I used to think it was just my bad luck, until I had a conversation with Oyeyemi Ajayi, who's been there too. So let's hear it straight from Oyeyemi Ajayi himself. What happens when the digital map doesn't quite match reality?
I'll admit it, I've never really been a fan of maps. Not because I'm stuck in the past or resistant to technology, but because, well, I just prefer to know where I'm going before I set out on an adventure. With time, the hype around this app grew louder, the glowing reviews piling up. They say it's a lifesaver, a modern-day compass. And so, I thought, why not give it a shot, at least to a familiar place, just in case this high-tech guide decides to test my patience.
So, I'm confused. I'm supposed to take a left turn, but I think we're on the wrong path.
Curious if I was the only one feeling this way, I reached out to a few folks, and it turns out I wasn't alone.
Recently, I was driving to Lugbe, and I used map to take me to a hospital I was supposed to get to, but it took me to the back of Amak market, the Lugbe market.
I was going to ITF, so I was asked to use Google Map to show me the location. I was actually using my leg. So, but the location that they were showing me, it was a dead end, but on the map it was showing that there was road there. So I got confused.
We're heading to the airport, but the map was not showing us another direction.
Technology has woven itself into the fabric of our lives, bridging the gap between the world of handwritten maps and the age of GPS-guided routes. It has become our go-to for everything from ordering food to finding our way through a maze of city streets. Now, while many praise maps as a digital lifeline, others like me have their reservations.
That the core has never been in support of the use of phone while driving.
Imagine driving down a road you've traveled for years, only to have apps suddenly suggest a shortcut that leads straight into a traffic jam, or worse, the middle of nowhere, if not an accident. Some even blame the occasional misdirection on outdated software that needs serious upgrades.
One major factor is change in infrastructure. So let's say this place was meant to be a road to lead you to these access points. Maybe someone might have built a house, built a market square, built whatever that has made that place not become accessible anymore and makes it like open new points of reach, like a new road. But before it gets time to update on maps, most people don't know and they keep using those old maps. That is a major reason that causes it.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not completely against it. I've come to appreciate just how helpful apps could be, but I've learnt a little trick along the way. Double check before hitting the road. The next time you open the app, remember, technology is a great guide, but a human touch can make a little difference. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Many thanks, Oyeyemi, for that package. Of course, navigational maps and I, not friends at all. Let's move on. The federal government remains committed to completing railway projects nationwide, providing Nigerians with a cost-effective transportation alternative and boosting the economy. Our transport correspondent, Ladi Bala, brings us up to speed on the progress of these projects.
Nigeria's railway system, born before independence, suffered decades of neglect. But renewed efforts by the federal government is revitalizing the sector. The Tinubu administration prioritizes modernization, recognizing the importance of continuity. These various projects aim to provide alternative means of transportation and stimulate economic growth.
Rail is one of the viable options that will connect the whole country together.
There is no better time for the relevance of the railway transportation system in the country than now.
So far so good. I want to commend them, and then please let them and beg them to put on more efforts.
Some of the ongoing rail projects include Lagos-Kaduna, Kaduna-Kano, Kano-Maradi, Port Harcourt-Maiduguri, and Lagos-Calabar. What is the status of progress of work on the projects?
So far, we have started freight from APMT terminal to Ibadan on standard gauge. We have renovated the all narrow gauge from APMT terminal because we have two rail lines inside the terminal. From APMT terminal to Kano, up to Kano Inland Dry Port. When you look at the eastern corridor from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, at the time I took over as the minister, the project was just at the outskirts of Port Harcourt. We are able to fix it up to Aba.
Many express concern over funding challenges which persist despite private sector involvement.
The hope of Nigerians to comprehensive rail network across the country is renewed with the efforts of the federal government to make the sector functional. In Abuja, Ladi Bala, NTA News.
Participants at a two-day summit on Sangaya education reforms organized by the Borno State government have expressed the need for stakeholders to accept initiatives that will change the narrative and the age-long system. The summit, declared open by the Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum, is holding at Musa Usman Secretariat, Maiduguri. Mohammed Agoni was there.
The two-day summit brought together Islamic scholars and experts in Arabic language to cross-fertilize ideas that will bring the needed reforms to the Sangaya education system.
The improper teaching of Islamic studies has contributed to the emergence of Boko Haram, and it is our responsibility to ensure that our schools adhere to the teachings of the Holy Quran and Hadith.
The governor charged the participants to come up with modalities to discourage and eliminate street begging, calling on educationists to accept reforms in the Sangaya system. Executive Secretary, National Commission for Almajiris and Out-of-School Children, Professor Muhammad Idris Al-Balature, informed the gathering of the efforts at the national level to stop begging amongst children, adding that the Commission is partnering with state governments to establish centers for Arabic studies to enable products of Sangaya system access university education. Representative of the Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, Abubakar Tijani, applauded efforts of the Arabic and Sangaya board in bringing the much-needed reforms and assured the board of the ministry's support to ensure its success. Chairman of the Arabic and Sangaya board, Sheikh Aliu Ahmad Abul Poti, highlighted achievements recorded since the creation of the board and appealed to government to address the issues of street children who need education and care. There were paper presentations by Professors Mohammed Mustafa Gorebe and Abubakar Alaji, dwelling on factors responsible for deterioration of the Sangaya system and need for relevant stakeholders to embark on sensitization campaigns in mosques and on mass media. In a goodwill message, the Shehu of Borno, represented by the Telba of Borno, assured of his support to success of the reform in the Sangaya system. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Away from the home of peace now, one aspect of life that may or may not give you peace is your career path. And exploring career options might seem overwhelming for secondary school students. But the process doesn't have to be stressful. By breaking it down into simple, manageable steps, students can begin to consider their interests, talents, and potential pathways that align with their future goals. Francis Udojo in this report, 6 answers.
Experts believe parents play a crucial role in helping children navigate their career choices, offering guidance and support. However, sometimes parents might unintentionally pressure their children to follow a specific career path, often one similar to their own.
I have a daughter who actually decided for herself. Initially, she didn't know what to do. Well, she didn't even know exactly what course she wanted to read, but after some time, she was like, should we food nutrition? Like the father wanted her to read medicine, and she came back and said, no, I wouldn't read medicine. I don't like blood.
Students have credits in basic science or basic technology and mathematics. You know that student is science oriented. And you see some too that have credits or A's in those subjects I mentioned. And they will tell you that, man, sorry, I don't want to do science.
What we try to do is to bring both the parent and the student to sit down together while we try to make them reach an agreement on what to do.
Experts also emphasized that while career preparation during secondary school is valuable, it is not essential for everyone to decide on a lifelong career in their teenage years. For this reason, career counselors are vital in schools, asking questions like, what subjects do you enjoy? What extracurricular activities do you prefer? What are you passionate about? What lifestyle do you envision for your future? And what are your main goals? Can be incredibly helpful in guiding students towards a fulfilling career.
So you allow them to make their choice. Because even sometimes when we are doing placement here, you see some parents who come with the children, they will keep on saying, no, I want my child to be a science student. If it is not science, this. But you see that child will keep on doing me eyes. You see them, they are not comfortable.
Thinking outside the box is key. Parents and educators should encourage students to consider a variety of skills, not only academic abilities, but also creative, social, and practical skills, which are equally valuable.
Once wards or students go into these courses or direction of life without having passion for it, they either end up redundant or losing the motivation to work.
Proponents of student-centered career choice believe that while parents are naturally inclined to give their children the best, it is essential to give young people the opportunity to choose their own path. In Abuja, Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Well said, Francis. And I'm sure parents just learned something new. Now, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, is advocating reforms in assets recovery to support economic transformation drive in the country. This was an official launch of a research report on asset recovery on a common African position in Abuja. Muhammad Rabiu reports.
Nigeria has recorded more than $5 billion in the last 25 years as asset recovery since the return to democracy in 1999. Experts say more needs to be done. While presenting the research findings, Executive Director CISLAC calls for more monitoring and accountability.
From the findings of this work that we have done, Nigeria has significantly contributed to asset recovery challenges in Africa and West Africa sub-region. The country has established alliances with other nations to guarantee a unified African effort to retrieve and repatriate assets to continent.
Other recommendations put forward include detection, recovery, management and cooperation and partnerships from foreign countries, as well as legislative support. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Let's talk business now. The businessman is here. Benny, feed us.
Thank you, Yeri. And talking business, the focus of the Nigerian solid minerals sector is to transit from raw extraction to value addition, processing, and local beneficiation. Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, stated this while highlighting expected gains of the 9th edition of the Nigerian Mining Week, holding in Abuja from November 18th to 20th. He notes that the event is to showcase the opportunities in Nigeria's solid minerals sector, guided by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda.
This year's 9th edition, which is themed from the inside out, building the mining sector to be the cornerstone of Nigeria's economy, actually reflects our unwavering commitment to creating a mining industry that anchors national prosperity, supports sustainable growth, and fuels industrialization. In another year, by the grace of God, we will begin to count the gains of the various policy initiatives and efforts that we've been making.
The Nigerian Mining Week 2024 will feature a robust program in addressing issues such as environmental reforms, financing innovations, and the global positioning of Nigerian minerals. Now, still on the solid minerals sector, revenue hits 8 billion naira due to adequate provision for the Nigerian Mining Cadastral Office is affecting its revenue generation capacity, as the agency has already recorded 8 billion as of October 2024. House of Representatives Committee on Solid Minerals made the observation during an oversight visit to the office of the Director General of the Mining Cadastral Office. Obadiah Simon Nkom says the agency will perform better if the needed financial assistance is provided.
The one for last year, but the most important thing and what to plead and this committee is to be able to look at the aspect that since inception, anyway, we don't have collection fees, and I believe that this is a prayer that we request the House to look into it, because if the mining cadastre generates about 50% or more than 50% of the entire sectorial revenue, I think a small percentage of the collection fee will help us to run the office and make more money for the federal government.
For an agency in this ecosystem to be getting an appropriation of 1 billion and you are raising as of October over 8 billion, to me is an aberration, and it is something that must be checked.
The committee, however, advised the agency to ensure that the issue of getting the consent of stakeholders, especially host communities, in acquiring mining licenses should be considered to avoid breakdown of law and order. Now, a quick look at the Nigerian markets. The Nigerian equities market sentiment closed Wednesday bullish, reversing the negative tilting observed on Tuesday as investors renewed their interest in some shares, recording a 95 billion gain. Now, taking a look at the figures at this particular point in time, you can see as of the end of transaction yesterday, we see the market close at 0.12% in terms of the percentage at the end of transactions and negative. But today, we have seen an improvement to about 0.16% at this time. And looking at number of deals, we see 8,305 deals. The total number of volumes is recorded at 247.01 billion. The value is 7.510 billion naira at this point. And you can see the equities capitalization actually advanced to 59.03 trillion naira, making it a very good market at the end of the day. Closely, let's look at the volume. Access core top with 40 million, followed by United Bank for Africa 23.7 million and Fidelity Bank 21.1 million, which shows that the banking stocks are doing very, very well. And compared to yesterday's transactions, you will see that we have 30% decline in volume, 19% decline in turnover, and 90% also decline in deals. And on the aggregate, we have 124 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 30 gainers and 20 losers. Well, this is it on business, but News Extra continues after this break. Do stay with us.
Debaters, researchers.
Thank you for staying with us. The transformative nature of television can act as catalyst for showing the path to growth of the African continent. To do this effectively, television must align with the fast pace of digital technology to advance contents that promote development. The Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Malam Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, spoke at the 25th International Conference and Golden Jubilee Anniversary of the African Council for Communication Education, hosted by Bayes University, Abuja. Kelvin Evonaye reports.
Top in 1976, the African Council for Communication Education aims primarily to promote journalism education and to raise awareness among policymakers and government in Africa on the crucial role of communication and mass media in national development by promoting and improving the quality of training in tertiary institutions. This year's conference emphasizes that commitment with the lead paper focusing on reassessing the dynamics of television in the quest for national development in Africa, delivered by NTA's Director General, Malam Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos. Represented by the Deputy Director News Operations, Mohammed Ali, re-echoed the need for more collaboration among African television stations, investment in infrastructure and technology to be able to tell the African stories in a manner that promotes unity and growth.
We need to build capacities of personnel to enable them meet rudiments of modern television to produce quality programs or create quality contents that will add value in our quest for national development. I have to partner to put resources together to provide infrastructure that will facilitate development of quality content, a kind of pan-African or regional cooperation.
The coming of social media, artificial intelligence, and other changes in the environment, the issue of insecurity, is bringing a lot of issues in how the training is done. But we thank federal government for approving an improved curriculum, the CCMAS, where communication studies have been unbundled now with many sub-programs that emerge out of it, and a lot of people are specializing and training themselves to catch up with what is happening in the field.
The conference, being attended by leading communication scholars across the country, was used to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the ACCE, with recommendations expected at the end of the deliberations. In Abuja, Kelvin Evonaye, NTA News.
Let's head to Kano State now, where the government is leveraging on ICT to improve delivery of critical service as a commercially viable and civil service-oriented state in Nigeria. And to hit the ground running, the state has concluded arrangements to establish computer-based test and information and communication technology centers in each of the 44 local government areas of the state. Awal Salisu will give us the details.
The 2024 Scientific and Technology Week in Kano features intense competitions, insightful educational presentations that showcases the state's indigenous innovative technologies. This annual event provides a platform for students to display their creativity, technical skills, and problem-solving abilities in science and technology. Abdullahi Ibrahim used the opportunity to showcase his groundbreaking invention, a gasless cooking stove, demonstrating the potential of young talents in driving technological innovations.
We manipulate and do the electrolysis of it and get out the hydrogen and get out the oxygen separately. So we use the hydrogen to power up some like this stove and the others.
We feel very excited and happy because what they give us is just a way of encouraging us to do better at the next time.
Kano State Deputy Governor Aminu Abdulsalam announced the government's ambitious plan to establish computer-based test CBT and information and communication technology ICT centers in all 44 local government areas of the state.
Our vision goes beyond local efforts. We are committed to liberating science and technology to address global challenges that affect all of humanity.
Whether it's in the realm of medicine, engineering, education, or sustainable energy, science and technology are the engine of growth, transforming how we live, work, and connect with each other.
For Abdullahi and other young inventors, the future holds great promise as they continue to demonstrate their readiness to rule the world through their technological innovations and scientific discoveries. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
And from the Center of Commerce, we head to the Center of Excellence, where new and emerging inspection techniques are being developed to enhance efficiency and compliance from the harmful effects of ionizing radiation. Nuclear experts say this is imperative in protection of the ecosystem. Michael Olalaye reports.
Since it was established by the Nuclear Safety and Radiation Protection Act 19 of 1995, the Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority has been fulfilling its core mandate of regulating the possession and application of radioactive substances, as well as safe promotion of nuclear research and development in Nigeria.
The technology is beautiful, but when mismanaged, it can be hazardous. What really matters to keep the health and well-being of the public and occupationally exposed people intact and preserved and protected is what they always do.
Regulating the field of practice with frequent upgrade and innovation could be tricky. Succeeding on this path involves updating techniques and procedures.
Industrial radiography on its own is an NDT, a non-destructive testing method which uses, X-ray, gamma ray, and neutrons to identify defects in materials. So this training, particularly, regulators, will gain knowledge.
It is believed that this national training on industrial radiography will put the authority on the right path of achieving optimum results in the area of radiological protection. In Lagos, Michael Olalaye, NTA News.
Away from ICT, let's look at housing matters now, as the federal government is working hard to overcome the challenges of housing deficit in the country. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, disclosed this while on a courtesy visit to Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya when he arrived in Gombe for the 13th meeting of the National Council on Lands, Housing and Urban Development. Emmanuel Akila reports that Wednesday is the Permanent Secretary's Day at the meeting.
During his parley with Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development reveals that the federal government is working expeditiously to complete the renewed hope estates and cities across the country, while coming up with projects to reduce the cost of building materials to enable Nigerians own their houses.
Our own plans for the ministry under the Renewed Hope program is to ensure that we will reduce the cost of building materials. We also create jobs for our teeming youth. That's why we have the plans to establish building material manufacturing hubs, one in each geographical zone of the country.
We, as a government, and indeed any other state government in Nigeria, is ready to work together with you and Mr. President to ensure that we achieve our aims and objectives, particularly, with what you've shown with regards to the renewed hope housing scheme, which Nigerians are yearning for.
The 13th meeting of the National Council on Lands, Housing and Urban Development is the Permanent Secretary's Day, with discussions on climate matters, housing deficit, and the problems of urban development to set the stage for broader deliberations on ways to mitigate the challenges of housing in Nigeria. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Another quick break is due at this point. Please stay put. Thank you for staying with us. Let's stop at the land of equity now, where the government has refuted rumors that some villages in the state are under the control of bandits. The Deputy Governor, Senator Umar Abubakar Tafida, made the clarifications at a press conference in Birni Kebbi in the state capital. Correspondent Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa reports.
Recently, bandits attacked Mera community in Augi local government area of Kebbi State, leaving about 15 people dead and several others wounded. But some online media outfits went ahead to exaggerate the incident by reporting that some villages in Kebbi had been taken over by bandits who have instituted their own government. It also alleged that the bandit had assumed role of traditional leaders and court judges. These therefore prompted the State Deputy Governor, Senator Umar Abubakar Tafida, to call a press conference to debunk the fake news which was spreading fast.
We don't have any knowledge of a single village where something of this nature is happening. And we don't know where the report comes from. We just want to give you the assurance that that report is wrong, it's false.
He reaffirmed the state government commitment to securing lives and property of the people. Although the pains of the Mera attack is still lingering, normalcy has returned to the community.
In the course of investigation, it was discovered that a new sect of bandits perpetrated the dastardly act. While some of them are arrested, others are on their own. But the Nigeria's defense team are on their trail. However, the Kebbi state government, through its local security outfit, are collaborating with top security agencies in the state, while the federal government had deployed army troops to the affected communities after a high-powered delegation visited the Chief of Defense Staff. In Birni Kebbi, Abdul Jalil Muhammad Bawa, NTA News.
Let's look at power issues now, as the transmission company of Nigeria says that armed men invaded the construction site of its ongoing transmission substation in Abuja, Kogi State. In a statement, TCN alleges the attack, as reported by security personnel at the site, occurred on the night of Tuesday, November 12, 2024, at approximately 11:55 p.m., when the assailants opened fire indiscriminately, causing the guards to flee. During the attack, 150 MVA power transformer already positioned on its plinth was struck, resulting in a burst radiator. Meanwhile, TCN, in collaboration with the contractor managing the project, is evaluating the level of damage done. This incident, the statement says, is part of a broader pattern of vandalism targeting transmission infrastructure across the country. In other news, the Nigeria Customs Service Area 2 Command, One River State, has seized containers of illicit drugs and donkey skin worth billions of naira. The Comptroller, Mohammed Babandede, disclosed this at a briefing, the Comptroller General, where he assured that the command remains resolute in its commitment to ensuring sanity at the nation's ports. Chidebere Onya completes the report.
The briefing by the Nigeria Customs Service Area Controller Port Harcourt, Area 2 Command, One, Comptroller Mohammed Babandede, is coming exactly 2 months after the federal government declared a 3-month state of emergency at the One ports due to growing concerns over national security. Comptroller Babandede disclosed that the command has proven itself effective in enhancing its operational capabilities. Items such as cough syrups, tramadol, antibiotics, chili cutter, and donkey skin, which is said are used for concealment of fake drugs, were intercepted.
The command under my stewardship this year has now made a total seizure of 63 containers. The duty paid value of this seizure, 63 containers, stand at 130,562,660,407.
A comparative analysis report of the command's current revenue profile was also presented.
We are able to realize a total revenue of 550,431,559,598.41. Our revenue target for this year is 618. So already we are able to realize 89% of the annual target.
From One River State, Chidiebere Onya, NTA News.
The renewed partnership between the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is aimed at curbing substance abuse to promote public health amongst Nigerians. The position was affirmed by heads of the two agencies, NDLEA Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, and that of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, as they signed a memorandum of understanding at the NDLEA National Headquarters, Abuja. A move that marks a significant point in their shared endeavor to improve operational effectiveness, protect public health, and guarantee community safety.
It will align our strategies and resources, making us better equipped to tackle the growing menace of drug abuse and ensure that only safe, approved, and genuine products reach the hands of consumers.
So what we are doing here today is for us. It's for the country. It's logical that NDLEA and NAFDAC should work very, very closely together.
Well, Khalil Ibrahim, who witnessed the signing ceremony, reports that the MOE will establish a framework that will enhance the sharing of vital intelligence facilities and expertise, which will amplify ability to effectively address the intertwined challenges of drug and substance abuse and counterfeit products. Still talking health, ensuring proper regulatory mechanisms for health training institutions in Nigeria has remained key to addressing issues bedeviling the country's health sector as a whole. This was amongst other issues identified at the annual National Scientific Conference by community health workers in Bauchi, with the aim of addressing the high rate of maternal and child mortality in the country. Muazu Hassan has all the details.
Nigeria has a maternal mortality rate of 576 per 100,000 live births, the fourth highest on earth, while an approximately 262,000 babies died at birth every year, according to a report by the United Nations Children's Fund. This gathering is aimed at evaluating the country's health structure with the view to provide the relevant information needed for proper primary health care service in line with the global trend.
Is to complement government efforts through effective service delivery that is committed to set objectives in containing this unacceptable high health indices that has often plumbed the rural communities that we are serving.
We have our institute that you can go and broaden your knowledge. So no, you cannot give any excuses.
With the theme, Community-Based Strategies for Reducing Maternal and Child Mortality, the conference advocates for an enhanced atmosphere to primary health services.
We are working hand in hand with our community health practitioners in order to create demand for health services.
The health needs of our people, particularly at the grassroots level, were properly handled.
Participants at the Community Health Conference were drawn from the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. In Bauchi, Muaz Hassan, NTA News.
Sadly, President Bola Tinubu has condoled the family of Emmanuel Obioma Ogwegbu, former Justice of the Supreme Court and former President of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, on his passing. The President, in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, also conveys his sympathies to members of the bar and bench across the nation for the man who has mentored countless judges and lawyers throughout his over 5-decade career. President Tinubu honors Justice Ogwegbu's enduring legacy and commends his unwavering commitment to justice, integrity, and the rule of law, who served as chair of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, which investigated human rights abuses during the military regime. He reflects on Justice Ogwegbu's pivotal role in transforming Nigeria's judiciary into an institution where justice prevails without fear or favor. According to President Tinubu, Justice Ogwegbu's landmark judgments, particularly those on federalism, university autonomy, individual rights under the Nigerian Constitution, banking regulations and monetary policy, will continue to serve as guiding principles and reference points in Nigerian law. Now, the Nigerian Army Headquarters has announced the funeral arrangement for the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. A statement by Acting Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, indicates that burial activities will commence on Thursday, 14th November 2024, with a service of songs at the Army Headquarters Garrison Parade Grounds by 5 o'clock in the evening. Friday, 15th November 2024, will be the funeral service at the National Christian Center, Abuja, by 10 in the morning, followed by interment by 2 p.m. at the National Military Cemetery, Abuja. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, says the demise of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, is a great loss to the armed forces in Nigeria. The National Security Advisor stated this while on a condolence visit to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, at the Defense and Army Headquarters in Abuja, describing the late Chief of Army Staff as a dedicated officer with passion for his troops' welfare and the nation's security.
We have suffered a great loss. We lost one of our best, an incredible man, loyal, committed, trustworthy, a compatriot, very, very good leader. He loved his soldiers. He worked for the armed forces, but he's no more with us. And that is what life is all about. We are here in sorrow to identify with the armed forces of Nigeria and the army particularly, and to tell them we are in this together.
The NSA was accompanied by the coordinator, National Counter-Terrorism Center, Major General Adamu Laka, and other principal staff of the Office of the National Security Advisor. It's still News Extra. More to come after this break. Let's have a bit of sports now with a sportsman, Badi Adeleye. Badi, what's the latest?
All right, it is about the Super Eagles of Nigeria and area. All right, all is now set for the Crunch 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier between Benin Republic and Nigeria on Thursday. The Super Eagles concluded their final training session in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire moments ago, with coach Austin Iguavoin and his backroom staff perfecting their game plans with the players. Nigeria will be guaranteed a place in Morocco 2025 with just a point against the Cheetahs in a match that will be live on NTA Sports Channel, with studio opening from 7 in the evening.
The mindset we come into games is to win, but easier said than done. We fight for every ball, we fight for every point, and that's what we want to do tomorrow.
We'll be very ready. All the conditions are here for us. We feel at home here in Abidjan. And yeah, I'm confident that we can do the job and qualify by winning tomorrow.
Let's talk women's football now, as Nigeria's representatives in this year's CAF Women's Champions League, Edo Queens, will on Wednesday evening forced to a goalless stalemate by FC Masar of Egypt in their second group game. Despite dictating play and having a few shots on target, the Nigerian champions could not find a breakthrough and had to settle for a share of the spoils. The Queens, who remain top of Group B with 4 points ahead of Masar on the same points, need at least a draw against Mamelodi Sundowns in their last group game on Saturday to advance to the semi-finals in Morocco. Now, South African Football Association President Danny Jordan has been released on bail amid allegations he used the organization's funds for personal gains. The country's Organized Crime Investigation Unit, HOCS, has been looking into claims of fraud and theft at SAFA between 2014 and 2018, amounting to $72,000. Jordan is alleged to have hired a private security company for its personal protection and a public relations company without authorization from the SAFA board. To a bit of tennis now. After a rocky start to the ATP finals, Carlos Alcaraz is up and running in Turin. The Spaniard eased past Andrei Rublev 6-3, 7-6 on Wednesday afternoon in an impressive response to his chastening opening defeat to Casper Ruud. Alcaraz, who struggled with a stomach issue against Ruud, was back to his physical and energetic best in his 96-minute win against Rublev. Next up for the 21-year-old as he chases a Turin semi-final spot for the second consecutive year is a clash against Alexander Zverev on Friday. And that's our beat on sports. Let's now return to Yari.
Well, thanks, buddy, for the updates. And that wraps up News Extra tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. Have a good night.